everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make macarons. This is my third time, I think, trying to record this video, and I think it's gotten a little better each time, but I wanted to have a really good, easy to follow version to post on YouTube. So these are the macarons I've been making, and basically the setup is it's 2 shells and then you've got that cream in the middle. That's what sews them together. And the reason I've been making so many of these is because I'm going to be donating a bunch to the animal shelter for cat toys. We have 3 cats, and we also foster kittens sometimes, so I love it being able to make some cat toys, and it's a great to use your scrap yarn. So I am putting catnip in mine today, but you are under no obligation to put catnip in your own. You can just make cute macaron to your heart's content. So you'll need catnip if you're going to make them into cat toys, stuffing, whether or not you're making them into cat toys, a crochet hook, scissors, and then I have just a couple balls of scrap yarn. I'm pretty sure it's a DK weight, which is usually listed as like a 3 or 4 on the bulkiness scale, and usually that calls for a 4mm crochet hook, but I decided to use a 3.5mm crochet hook because I feel like that gets a little bit of a tighter weave, and then you don't end up with holes where like the catnip can come out and stuff. So today, I know macarons aren't really white and gray, but I thought those would be easy colors, especially since I've made like every other color combination that I have on hand. So you're going to start with your darker color, and you're going to do a magic ring of 6. So start your magic ring, and then you're going to put 6 single crochet into that. And then you're going to pull your magic ring tight, and I am working not in a spiral, but in the way where you slip stitch chain 1 at the end of every row, and this can be a little confusing because people will gain or lose stitches doing this sometimes. So what you're going to do is make sure you're back to the first stitch, and you're going to go into that stitch and then yarn over, pull through, but then just do a slip stitch, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go back through that same stitch that you just slip stitched into for the first single crochet of the next row. And this first row is almost always the hardest, and it'll get easier after this. So you're going to do an increase in that first stitch. And it's going to be a little clumpy, but it will turn out fine, I promise. And then you'll do increases all the way around, so you'll end up with 12 stitches total after this row. Alright, and then once again, when you reach the end of that row and you have 12 stitches, you're going to go into the first one, and you're going to do a slip stitch, and you're going to chain 1, and then we'll do one more row, and this one's going to be single crochet, increase, repeat it 6 times. So go right into that same first stitch that you slip stitched into, and you're going to do just 1 single crochet this time, and then in the next stitch you'll do an increase. And then at this point, So for the fourth row, you're going to do a bunch of half double crochets in the back post of the stitches. And this one is a little bit complicated because you've just slip stitched and chained one. So essentially you're skipping this first stitch, and then you're going to yarn over and then go to the back of your work, and you're going to insert the hook into the back post of the next stitch. So it kind of comes up through here, but doesn't go strictly through either of these stitches. So you're going to go into the back of that stitch, yarn over, pull through, and now you should have 3 loops on your crochet hook, and then you'll pull through all 3. And this is what creates that nice solid corner, so that you can have this side be really flat compared to this side. And you're going to do 18 of these in a circle. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, and then pull through, and then you'll continue all the way around. And then at this point, you're going to do a slip stitch into that first half double crochet, and then you'll chain 1. And I just do that because it locks it in place. It'll start to come out sometimes if it's a slip stitch. And then you only need a short tail for this piece, so you're going to pull it out and snip it off. And then this will be the top or bottom of the macaron. I'll join you after we crochet the second side. So now we have a top and a bottom. So then for this part, it's a little bit trickier but fairly straightforward once you get the hang of it. I think it's easier than the half double crochets that we just did around. So you're going to orient the top and the bottom together like this, so that these strings aren't next to each other, and that just keeps them from getting all bulky. And then you'll rotate it a little bit further, and you'll insert your hook through the bottom strand. So basically this would be the back loop only, but in this case it's kind of the front loop because it's facing out. So you're going to insert your hook through there, and then insert your hook again through one of the stitches on the top, like that. And then we'll take your lighter color and you're going to fold it over so it has a pretty good tail. And this is what I found works best. If you want to attach it a different way that works better for you, go ahead and do it. But what I do is I put the yarn over my hook and I pull through like this, and then I'm going to go into the next 2 stitches, so bottom and then top, and I'm going to pull both loops through and do a single crochet. Then for your next stitch, you'll just stuff that extra tail inside and it'll get mixed up with the stuffing. And sometimes you have to pull it tighter so you don't get that extra loop. But you'll go into the next 2 stitches with just your working yarn. And you'll do a single crochet, and then go into the next 2 and do a single crochet. So at this point, you're at the place where you finished off the bottom cookie, and it might look like you go into this stitch, but this was actually your slip stitch. Let me see if I can show you. So this was your slip stitch and then your chain 1. So you're not going to work into either of those. You're going to skip over those and push in the end. It'll be mixed in with the stuffing, and you're going to go into the next one, the one that's attached to. So you'll go into that one, and then it'll just be the normal next on the top, and then pull through and do a single crochet. And already you can start to see that creamy look in the middle. And then we'll work up to the next place where there's a knot. And for the top piece, you're going to go into the bottom one like you normally would. And then this is the same thing here, the slip stitch, chain one, those tiny little stitches. And you're going to work into the one it's attached to. You're just going to go in, do a single crochet, tuck the end in, and can push that slip stitch and chain one in as well. And then you'll go just into the next bottom and then the next top. And then you have a really nice smooth look around at the top and at the bottom. So then we're going to work the rest of the way to about here, so maybe another quarter of the way around, and then we'll stop and stuff. And if the strings are bothering you like they're bothering me, you can just tuck them in because that means less stuffing. Alright, so I'd say this is the easiest part. I'd pull out a pretty big loop so that you don't accidentally start pulling this piece out, and then just open this up and you'll take your stuffing. I take pretty small pieces because it's not a very large space, and if you stuff it too much, it'll just turn into a ball and you won't have this nice macaron look. So add a little bit of stuffing. I'm gonna add some catnip, totally optional, but these do make really good cat toys. My cat 100% approves of them. So I take a couple pinches of catnip and just kind of scrunch it into the middle of the stuffing, and then I'll put more stuffing on top, and that just keeps it from leaking out the sides, because sometimes it will still do that, or aggressive cats will just pull it out of the sides. Then I'm going to just put a little bit more stuffing, and I'd say don't do any more than this or it's going to stop looking like a macaron. And then you'll pick up that loop, tighten it up so that you can keep crocheting with it, and you'll just finish off these front stitches that we were going into all the way around. At this point, you should be more or less back around to where you started. And what I found to work well here is to do one last single crochet into this stitch, and it should more or less be the first one that you worked into. And then you're going to do a slip stitch into this stitch, and that just completes it, and then you don't have any awkward place where the gray shows through. And then again, I always chain one so it can't come undone. I think that's especially important if it's a cat toy. If it's just an amigurumi animal or something, I think it's a little less likely just to come out. But I pull that through. You don't need a very long chain because you're not sewing anything on here. Sorry, a very long end. And then you'll snip that off and you have a cute little macaron. This one, I think I understuffed a little bit because it's got a little bit of a wiltiness right here, but it does look much more macaronish than some of my squishy ones that got a little bit overstuffed. And then I'll just weave in this end, and you can weave in the end however you like. I generally will just reach through and kind of pull it into the center, and it joins the stuffing, and then it's pretty secure. If you want, you can also weave it into the white. You could weave it through the gray on top, whichever one works best for you. But there you go, your own little macaron. If you liked my pattern, please give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel, because I would love to make more pattern videos like this and write some more patterns for you guys. But I will post a written version of this pattern on my Patreon, so if you want to read it as you go along or just prefer working from a written version, I'll post that with lots of pictures, and I think I will make it available for like $1 or $2. Not very expensive, but if you want to head over there and get that, I'll put the links in the description. My Instagram is also going to be linked in the description, and I'd love to see any macaron that you create. I hope you have a wonderful day. So I have one more thing to share with you. I almost forgot, but as a teaser for my next video, and I'm going to post it either at the very end of December or the beginning or middle of January, I have a pig. But this pig was my initial one, and it was supposed to be a moose, and then it looked a little piggy. So I made another one and added a tail, but then the nose looked kind of mousy. So I made another one, and I just don't know what was going on with him. He's just not quite right. But then I made this lovely little fellow, and if you want to learn how to make him with me, you can check out my video in January. Bye.